Today's topic is unit number 3. Title of unit number 3 is It is a poem. Title of it is Good Timber. Today we will do paraphrase of stanzas and explanation of it. First year and subject English. First of all, we will do paraphrase of stanzas. Stanza number 1, poem Good Timber. The tree that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, but stood out in the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. Unit number 3, poem Good Timber. Paraphrasing. Stanza number 1. You have to write stanza number 1 as it is written over here. Paraphrase. The tree that never made any struggle for getting sunshine, sky, air, and light, but stood in the open plain and got his share of rain, such type of tree will never become the king of forest. It lived and died without getting any prominent position. So in this stanza, the paraphrasing is, I can explain it in simple words, that the trees, or the poet has used metaphor and compares trees to human beings. Compare trees with human beings. Now here he want to explain that the trees that never made any struggle. So the people who do not make any struggle in their life, they do not got prominent positions in their life. Stanza number 2. The man who never had to toil to gain and farm his patch of soil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. Stanza number 2, paraphrase. That person who never had to make efforts to get land and farm it और उसमें कुछ उगाए, farming करे, and had to win his share of sun, sky, light and air and other elements of life without any efforts. He never became a well-disciplined and hard-working man. He lived and died as he began without development. So it means that person who never had to make efforts to get land, a person who never made efforts to get the necessities of life and to make full use of it. So here the words are used in the sense that who never had to make effort to get land and farm it, and had to win his share of sun, sky, light and air and other elements of life without any efforts. So a person who is not making any effort in getting his share, the necessities of life, so he never became a well-disciplined and hard-working man, and he lived and died as he began without development. So he lived just like he lived and died. So he lived and died, and he died just like he was born. He was at the beginning of his life, at the birth of his life, he was not developed in his potentialities. So same is the case with him at the time of his death. He made no progress in his life because he never fight or he never struggle for it. Now coming to stanza number 3. Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger wind, the stronger trees. The further sky, the greater length. The more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snow. In trees and men would timbers grow. Stanza number 3. Paraphrase. A tree that is going to live a good and successful life does not grow with ease. it faces stronger winds and further sky. Further means far away. The more it bears bardasht karna, hardships. What are hardships? Sun and cold. Sun and cold are termed as hardships of life. The more it becomes stronger. These things make the timber and men good. The main idea of this paraphrase is the tree that is growing to live and good and successful life does not grow with ease. So the upbringing of men and the growth of the tree, the growth of the man and the growth of the tree is not very easily. It is not it does not grow with ease. It faces difficult times. Difficult time is resembled with it faces stronger winds and further sky. The man who bears more hardships, the more it became stronger. If a person faces more hardships, he became very stronger and he survived it. These things make the timber and man good. So these things make timber, tree, and man good. If he is able to make his capabilities in facing the difficulties of life, so in that case, the hardship of life make him stronger. Stanza number 4. Where thickest lies the forest growth, we find the patriarchs of both, and they hold counsel with the stars, whose broken branches show the scars of many winds and much of strife. This is the common law of life. Stanza number 4, paraphrase. Both good man and good timber lie in the thickest part of the forest. Lie in the thickest part of the forest. Thickest means Gunjan Abad. So they have struggled a lot in their life, and they lie in the thickest part of the forest. For there they are able to talk to stars and hold counsel with them. So they have faced many difficulties, and now they are able to lie in the middle part or the thickest part of the forest. From there they are able to talk to stars. So they have achieved their positions in their life, prominent positions in their life, and now they are able to talk to the stars. So it means they are near to their destinies. They are near to their achievements, that they are able to talk to the stars and hold counsels. Counsels means consult karna, mashwara karna with them. The broken branches and the scars. Scars means nishan, zakham ke nishan. Scars of wounds on their bodies testify to the fact that इस बात की गवाही देते हैं that they have faced hard winds and made great efforts, because this is the common law of life, because it is the common law of life that every person has to go through struggles and hardships of his life, and then he got prominent place or position in his life. So it was paraphrase of 4 stanzas of Good Timber. Now there is another question, explanation and reference to the context. Explanation and reference to the context of the poem. What is the reference to the context of the poem? You have to give the reference from which this stanza is taken from which poem, who wrote this poem. So it is the reference, and you have to write a little bit about the poem. So it is the reference to the context. The poem Good Timber has been written by Douglas Malloch. In this, he compares trees to human beings. He says that those who make efforts in their life become prominent and earn good name. People grow and reach their true potential. Potential means capabilities, abilities, by facing difficulties. But those who sit idle, जो फारिग बैठे रहते हैं, and do not struggle for what they need for their survival, they live and die without any improvement. So this is reference to the context. Now coming to explanation of stanza number 1. In this stanza, the poet says that tree that never has to fight for its needs of sun, sky, air, and light, and stands in the open air, getting everything without efforts, it never becomes an important tree, king of forest. Important tree means a prominent or very important forest of a tree of in the forest. Such type of tree leads its life and dies like an ordinary tree. It means that it has no importance and value in the people's eye. Explanation, stanza number 2. In second stanza, the poet compares men with trees. Same is the case with men who sit idle and do not make efforts to get things like land, sun, sky, light, and air. These people get everything free and without difficulty. But the fact remains that such people can never become disciplined and hard-working men. Rather, they lead useless life and die without making development. बगैर तरक्की किए वो मर जाते हैं. Explanation, stanza number 3. Trees do not grow into good timber easily. The more they face hardships like strong winds, sunshine, further sky, storms, cold, heavy rain, and snow, the more they became strong and valued. But such difficulties, both men and trees turned into good and important men and trees. Explanation, stanza number 4. In these lines, the poet says that the trees that grows in the thickest part of the forest becomes a leader of other trees. Same is the case with men. The man who bears hardships and faces difficult situations becomes a good and important man. Such trees and men talk to the stars. Their wounded bodies and scarred, broken branches show that they have encountered with heavy winds and difficult times. Encountered means jawab dena, bardasht karna. And it is common law of life that the fittest survives. Fittest having good condition, and the weak perishes. Perishes means destroy or die. So it is the rule of life. This is the law of life that the fittest survives and the weak perishes. Weak कमज़ोर जो है वो ख़त्म हो जाता है, वो तबाह हो जाता है. Now coming to activity, learn, paraphrase and explanation of the poem. You will get notes for comprehension, paraphrasing. So do not write it on your neat copies. Thank you.